Welcome to Project 11 Automated Expense Trackers. In this project, we'll build a fully methoded or automated expense tracking sheets in Microsoft Excel powered by ChatGPT for formula and macro creations and Gemini for quick troubleshootings and debugging. So by the end of these lessons, you will have a self calculations professional expenses tracker that automatically sums up your spending, categorize transactions and shows monthly summarize without needing any manual updates. Let's get started. Okay, so first let's open up the Microsoft Excel, and I have already create a new workbook, or you can create the new workbook by going to the file, click on the new, and click on the blank workbook. Okay, so now that we are in the blank workbook, and we will set up our tables headers in row 1. Type the following columns. So let's say if I gonna use, this is the first one is, let's say this is the date over here, and B2, let's say category, go with, and also the C or C1, let's say the descriptions, something like the this one, and E3, so let's say the payment method. Okay, so that's it. And the another one is, so let's go with and say the month. Okay, so now that here we have used the headers in the row 1, or like A1, and there is the date, B1 there is the categories, and also so on. Okay, so now let's enter some example data for testing. Okay, and before that, so let's use the auto fit over here, and here let's say if I gonna go to, and let's say the 1st January something, let's say the 2025, and also the category, let's say the grocery. So if I gonna go to and say the groceries over here, or like the these ones, and descriptions, so let's say the supermarket purchase. If I gonna say this is the supermarket purchase, and also over here, or we can add the another column, so let's right click, and let's say we can say this is the amount. So if I'm gonna go to and say the amount, and let's say amount could be like something 75, and payment method, so let's say the credit card. Okay, so like over here, credit card, and that's it. Or before that, so let's make it the bold as the headers to highlight it, and also you can copy the few more rows with different categories, like you can use the transparent bills and interns, and also the etc. And also then, or in column F month, we will make it automatically shows the month's name using the formula. Okay, so before that, so let's also fill up like the this one. So now that here we have these data sets, I have just typed in there, and now we want to use here the formulas with the text formula. So type the formulas with the equal, then let's say the text, and let's say the value, and with the A1. And the next one is we gonna want to use the, or like the, or let's say the month, something like the these ones, and close it, and then just hit on the OK. So now that here we go, or get the result with the January. So this formula converts the date into like a to into the full month's name. Okay, so drag it down to fill the entire columns in there. So and there's it's like with the February it comes with the February, and with the March it comes with the March. So now your base sheet is ready. Okay, and next let's use ChatGPT to help us generate formula for automations. So we need to open up the ChatGPT, and also now we want to promote something into the ChatGPT. So let's ask the ChatGPT. So let's say the create Excel uh, formula. So let's say the formula for an, let's say the expense tracker, or say the expense tracker that we want to say the calculate total spending per category. Let's say the spending per category, and let's say the per month automatically. Okay, you or we want to say the automatically, and that's it. And now ChatGPT will return a helpful formula. So like this, and we have like these ones, and this is over here, like total spending per categories over here, like the sum if something like that, these ones. So like we can use this is the, or we have these data if it is. So like here category range is over here, and E is category to match like the food, something like that, that's one. And also the amount range over here. So these small all expenses that belong to the is category. So here we have the for our data sets, and we have also the formula, and there is also the explanations. Okay, so and here this adds up all expenses in the amounts columns where the categories matches with the food. Okay, and that's it. And also then the or in like here, or and here say the E1, if I gonna go to, and there is the E1 is type, or you can type the food over here, and also the, or you can find the something the I1 type total. So then list your categories in columns: A's, groceries, transports, bills, etc. Okay, so and that's it over here. And also then list your categories in column A's, or something groceries, transports, bills, etc. Okay, so and that's it over here. And here you can just use like the these ones, or this is the total spending per month. You can use the sum product over here, and total spendings per category and per month combines with formula like sum ifs functions in there. So you can use like the this one sum ifs for a group. So now as you add expenses, the totals update automatically. Okay, so something like over there. Okay, so or we can just copy these formulas in there. So this gives a quick, gives us quick monthly overview, and also over here, and that's it in there. Okay, so you can follow this one. So let's, and if I gonna copy this code, let's say if I gonna go to, and if I gonna now move into the excels over here, So let's try to find out so what it's happened. So here we comes up with the this one. So this is the range, this is the criteria, and we can find like the these ones, or we have liked over here, or what we can do. So not that these ones, or if I gonna just we have like the these ones over here. So and if I gonna now let's change here the category, let's say the another one, or if I use here something the bills, or let's say the bills, and this times let's say this is the G1, and now that what we can do, or let's say the G1, and here we have like now the these categories over there, and that's it. So this is the or we want to use, so some if, and we gonna want to use the this is not the these ones. So let's say we gonna use it over here. So and that's it, we have the bills in there, so all the bills results in there. So if I gonna now say the another one, let's say the transport, and that's it. So now we have the transport amounts in there. Okay, so now and as you add expense, the total updates the or the automatically. So for monthly summary, ChatGPT will suggest some things, some ifs functions in there. So and you can now see that's it's with the, or you can find also the monthly summary. So if you're gonna use something, so let's say and we have like the these ones with the some ifs functions with the months in there, or you can use here the or the months in there. Okay, so or if I gonna now try to use something like let's say if I gonna go to and let's say the some if functions, and if I gonna go to or monthly summary, so we can go to over here the range, or let's say the monthly summary, or we can go to over here and let's say like the these ones, and then let's say something January, let's go with the January, and the next one is, so let's go with the D over here, close it and hit on the OK. So now here we have the January, or instead of there, so we can write here the January. So or like the, or we can say the January over here, and instead of writings we want to also select like let's say we want to use over here. So and that's it. So if I'm gonna now change it here the March, and here we got it the March, or March sums in there. Okay, so that's it. So now we'll take our automations one steps further using macros. So let's ask ChatGPT again, and we can do type these prompts. So write VBA, and if I gonna go to a VBA macro, that let's say the automatically update expense totals, let's say the totals whenever new data is added. Okay, and that's it. So now ChatGPT, or let's wait, and ChatGPT will generate for us a script like this. So here the VBA, or right, the VBA macro that automatically updates over here. So there the expense. So here we have the VBA codes in there. So and the VB, or we have like the expense date category amount. So summary sheet category or total per amounts like this one. So and here we have the code update expense totals in there. Okay, so and how you can work it, and to apply the macros you can do like press alt plus F1 to open the VBA editor, and also double click your worksheet names. So I replace sheet 1 and sheet 2 with the with 10. So like here in the project explorer, double click sheet 1, your expenses entire sheets in there. So and paste the above code into the code window. So we can do, so let's copy the first these ones. And now if I gonna go to, or we can do, so let's move into the over here, and let's say we want to use now the alt plus F11 to open it, like these ones to open the VBA editors. So let's say we're gonna want to use the sheet number 2s over here. So now paste in there. Okay, so now we can just save the books, and or we can or name it the difference one, or we can use the like something the auto, or let's say the auto calculations, something same. Let's use the auto calculations over here, and now just save it, and or we can just close it for now. Okay, and now whenever you add a new expense, Excel auto refresh your like the total instantly. So to make it faster, we can add bottoms triggers calculations. So if I gonna go to the alter plus F11s over here, so we can go to the insert tabs and use the bottoms in there, or if you gonna, or let's go to, or you can use the inserts in there with these modules in over here, or what we can do, so let's close it for now, and let's use the, or if I gonna go to the rev or developer tabs, use the macros, or let's use the visuals macros over here, and that's it we have over there. So or we can do, so and to make it safer, we can also add a bottoms triggers calculations like the automatically. So we can do, so let's go to, or we can create the inserts and use the new one, or let's say, so this is our, or if I gonna go to again the modules over here, or if I gonna paste over here, or let's say what we can do, we can create the new one, let's say the, so here we can go to the insert and use the from control, let's from use the bottoms over there. For examples we can just use in there. So now let's use the these names, the macros names over there. So and now that we can do, so right click, and we want to assign these macros with these ones, or we can just use or select your, and that's it over there. Okay, so when you click, so it will be or work in there. So let's go to again and use the assign macros over here. So what we can do, so let's use it, and we can go to over there. Okay, so that's it over there, so we can just click over and it will be shows up in there. Okay, and let's say your formula doesn't update properly, or your macros throw an errors. So that's where, like, if I gonna go to the visual basics over here, so this is our over there. So and you can, that's where Gemini comes in handy, and copy your error message or VBA code, or you can ask Gemini something like, I am getting a runtimes error 13s in Excel VBA, so how can I fix it? So that's why Gemini will ask or analyze the error and gives you possible fixes. For examples, like you can, or Gemini can suggest something like checking variables types and adding on error reasons next, or updating the cell ranges correctly. And you can even paste your formulas and ask like, why is my sum if formulas returning 0? Okay, so and Gemini will detect common issues like text versus number mismatch, or hidden space in data, or incorrect range references. So these steps ensure your trackers work error free and reliable. Okay, so now let's make our tracker visually appealing. So select your, like, if I gonna go to, or we can just save it for now, and if I gonna go to over here, like our sheet, and or if I gonna just try to, like, this is, or we can delete it for now, or that's it, or what we can do, so let's delete it. And now select your amount column. So if I gonna go to over here, then go to the home tabs and use the conditional formatting, and let's say highlight sales rules, and from there use the greater than and set it into like highlights, set it highlights amounts above the 100, and light rate with few dark rate or something like, or the red text, so whatever you want. So let's use the light red field with dark red text. Okay, and now just hit on the okay, so now it's highlight. Or you can also apply data bars to visually represent expand sizes. So by going to use the data bar, and let's say you can have this or these ones, like the different colors with the gradient and also the field colors. So let's say we can just keep it the data bars or green data bars. So like here, the this add a colored data bar to represent the values in like cells, the highlight or higher the values and longer the bars. Okay, so and that's it with the simple one. And for the categories, use the color scales. So if I'm gonna select all of them and go to the color scales to easily identify where most money goes. Okay, so like here, if I'm gonna go to something like that, this one, or let's say if I'm gonna go to with the something like over here, or let's go to with the red, white and green colors. So the color indicates where each cell's values fall within that range. Okay, so and that's it. So this makes your sheet both functionals and beautiful. Okay, so and that's it over here. And now let's test the entire stackers. So add a new expense for example. So let's say, and if I'm gonna go to the date over here, or we can use something if I'm gonna say the 12th February, or let's say the Feb, or let's say the 2025, and let's say the bill, or if I'm gonna go to right here the bills, and let's say here the internet bill, and here amount, let's say the 80, and payment method, so let's say the cash. Okay, so and that's it. So now it comes with the payments, and after pressing enter, your monthly summary and categories total should be updates automatically. So if it is in there, so like here totals, or if I gonna do have like let's say, so this is the February, or like over here, and that's it. So it's changed in there. Okay, and or we can make it the totals by, or what we can do, so let's make it as the tables, and use the control plus T and check with my tables headers, and that's it over there. And now what we can do, we can also easily add table designs and also use the total, or like the totals rows in there if you gonna want to use it over here. So like here the totals rows, or we want to text out for now, or let's use the totals of the amount. So let's go to the sum, and from there, so let's use it and close with the parenthesis. So and that's it in there. Okay, so when you have added anything, so it will be updated in there. So and the text new calculates all expenses automatically, no manual updates needed. Okay, so congratulations, you have successfully created an automated expense trackers in Microsoft Excel using ChatGPT and Gemini. So let's recap what we have achieved. So build a structured expense sheets and use ChatGPT to generate dynamics formula in the VBA, and like, and over here, and create a professional self updating trackers. You can now apply this same AI powered techniques to automate budget reports, invoice, or business dashboard in Excel. So in the next project, we will continue using AI tools to make Microsoft Office even smarter. So see you in the next lessons.